Ladies and gentlemen, there is an old belief that when you think about someone again and again, it might mean that they are also thinking about you at the same time. It sounds like a romantic idea or an emotional coincidence. But for many people, this thought feels strangely real. You might be sitting quietly, going about your day, and suddenly a person's face flashes in your mind. You weren't doing anything that would remind you of them, yet their presence comes so vividly that you pause and wonder why. It's in such moments that people begin to question whether thoughts can travel beyond the mind, whether two consciousnesses can somehow touch, even when miles apart. This is where the age-old belief finds its place, in that quiet mystery between psychology and spirit. From a purely human perspective, thoughts and memories often follow patterns of association. A word, a smell, a passing image can bring someone to mind, and we explain it away as coincidence. But sometimes, there's no clear reason for why that person appears in your thoughts. Perhaps you haven't spoken in years, yet something deep installs their memory up again. Spiritual teachings from different cultures have long tried to describe this phenomenon. Ancient Hindu philosophy speaks of the interconnectedness of all souls through the subtle web of energy called prana. Mystics in the West call it the collective unconscious. Some indigenous traditions talk about the invisible threads of spirit that weave all living beings together. In each of these, the idea is the same. We are not isolated islands of thought. We are parts of a vast energetic ocean, and the ripples of one soul can reach another. When someone thinks of you with genuine emotion, be it love, longing, curiosity, or even unresolved energy. Energy is not confined to the mind, it vibrates. It has movement. It radiates outward. Just as a small stone dropped into water sends out waves that expand far beyond the point of contact. Those who are emotionally or spiritually sensitive can sometimes feel these waves without realizing what they are feeling. The thought enters quietly, not as a loud message, but as a subtle whisper in your consciousness. You might suddenly feel warmth, restlessness, or nostalgia without reason. You might think of sending them a message or checking their social media. Then later, you find out that the person was indeed thinking of you, or even reached out at that same time. Science may call it coincidence, but to the spiritual mind, it feels like confirmation of an unseen bond. In the spiritual view, thoughts are not just electrical impulses in the brain. They are forms of energy that vibrate at specific frequencies. Every emotion gives that vibration a color or tone. Joy is bright and expansive. Sadness is slow and heavy. Love is soft and magnetic. When two people have shared deep emotional experiences, their energies become linked. It is as if a part of your frequency has learned to recognize theirs. So when one person's energy shifts, when they think of you with emotion, that vibration travels through the shared frequency and touches you. You may not consciously recognize it, but it stirs something within your field, and your mind interprets it as a thought of that person. This is why sometimes you think of someone, and moments later they call, or you dream of a person you haven't spoken to, and wake up to a message from them. The connection already existed at the energetic level. Your awareness is simply catching up. There's also a more psychological side to this idea that beautifully complements the spiritual view. Human consciousness is not limited to the rational mind. Beneath conscious awareness, the subconscious mind constantly communicates through intuition, feeling, and subtle perception. When someone you've bonded with emotionally directs energy your way, even just through thought, your subconscious can register it long before your rational brain tries to explain it. The conscious mind then translates this unseen communication into the language it knows: memory, imagination, or a sudden urge to think about them. In this sense, what we call intuition is the mind's way at interpreting energetic data. You aren't imagining things out of nowhere. You are simply feeling beyond the physical. Cultures around the world hold similar beliefs. In Japan, people talk about thinking cords, invisible threads connecting hearts. In some African traditions, the concept of Ubuntu reminds us that we exist through one another. The self and the other are intertwined. Even in modern Western thought, quantum physics has begun to describe phenomena that echo this truth: particles that remain entangled and affect each other instantly, no matter how far apart they are. Though science and spirituality use different languages, they often circle the same mystery: the possibility that everything is connected through unseen forces. When you find yourself thinking about someone again and again, the important thing is not to judge the experience as coincidence or fantasy. It may be your spirit's way of reminding you of a bond that still holds energy. Maybe there's unfinished emotion, forgiveness that hasn't been given, gratitude that hasn't been expressed, or love that never found closure. Thinking of them could be your soul's gentle invitation to release or acknowledge what still lingers. On the other hand, it might simply be a sign of mutual resonance. Two energies briefly brushing against each other across the invisible field of life. Sometimes, even if you haven't spoken in years, a short-lived thought is like a hello passed between souls. Energy follows attention. When you give thought to someone, you send a small current of energy toward them. If they are open or energetically attuned to you, they might feel that current and respond unconsciously, which sends their own current back to you. This back and forth flow can create a loop of mutual awareness that feels like you are both thinking of each other. That's why this belief has persisted through centuries. People keep feeling its truth in lived experience. It is not about mind, reading, or telepathy in a dramatic sense. It is more about the quiet conversation that happens beyond words. Of course, not every recurring thought has a spiritual explanation. The mind is capable of habitually returning to people who have shaped us or stirred deep feelings. But even habitual thought can be seen as energy still in motion, unfinished and searching for resolution. The key is mindfulness, noticing whether the thought feels heavy or light, peaceful or anxious. If it feels gentle and warm, it might be a loving connection reaching out. If it feels draining or obsessive, it might be energy asking to be released. Both are forms of communication from the unseen world of feeling. Thinking of someone can also be a mirror. Sometimes, the universe uses that person's image to show us something about ourselves. Maybe they reflect a quality we miss, an old version of ourselves we are trying to reclaim, or a lesson we need to learn. In this way, thinking of someone doesn't always point to them. It can also point us back home to our own heart. The person becomes a symbol, a messenger of what our soul is working through. In the end, the belief that when be thinking of you endures, because it touches something universal in the human spirit. Our longing for connection, our intuition that thoughts are not trapped inside our heads, our sense that love and memory exist on a plane beyond time. Whether you see it as energy, vibration, or subconscious awareness, the experience reminds us that we are part of something larger than ourselves. Each thought is a ripple in a shared sea of consciousness, moving quietly through the spaces between us, carrying emotion and presence from one heart to another. Energy surrounds everything we do, think, and feel. Even though it cannot be seen with the physical eyes, it is always in motion, flowing through us, between us, and around us. Every living being emits a field of subtle vibration, often called an aura or energy field. This field is shaped by the thoughts we hold, the emotions we experience, and the intentions we carry. When we think about someone, we are not simply remembering them in our mind. We are sending a small but powerful wave energy in their direction. This is what many spiritual teachings call energetic connection. It is the invisible bridge that allows one person's thoughts and emotions to reach another without words or physical contact. To understand this, imagine how radio waves travel. You cannot see them, but they carry sound across great distances. The human mind works in a somewhat similar way. Our thoughts generate vibrations, and these vibrations move beyond the limits of the body. If another person's energy field is tuned to a compatible frequency, they can pick up on that signal. This can happen consciously, as a sudden thought or memory, or subconsciously, as a subtle shift in feeling. Sometimes we interpret it as intuition, vu, or simply a sense of knowing. This is why you might suddenly think of a friend, only to find that they were thinking about you too, or about to reach out. In that moment, both of your energies aligned just enough to exchange a spark of awareness. Energetic connection is not limited to romance or close relationships. It can occur between family members, friends, mentors, or even strangers who share a moment of meaningful interaction. Each meeting we have with another person leaves behind an imprint in our energy field, like fingerprints left on glass. The stronger the emotion involved, love, grief, gratitude, curiosity, the deeper the energetic mark becomes. Over time, these marks can serve as pathways that reconnect us later. When you think of someone intensely, you activate the path between you, and energy begins to flow again. That flow can travel both ways. You may be sending out the thought, but in doing so you open yourself to receive from them as well. From a spiritual perspective, this is not magic, it is natural law. Everything in existence vibrates at a certain frequency. Just as musical instruments can create harmony when tuned to the same note, human beings resonate with others whose frequencies complement their own. When you think lovingly of someone, your vibration rises and radiates warmth. If they are receptive, their energy subtly adjusts to meet yours, creating a shared resonance. You both become aware of each other through feeling rather than logic. It is the same principle behind why you might suddenly feel comforted when someone prays for you or sends positive energy your way, even without knowing it. Science has not yet found language to fully explain this, but certain discoveries hint at its possibility. Studies on empathy, mirror neurons, and emotional contagion show that humans unconsciously mimic and absorb one another's emotions. The field of quantum physics speaks of entanglement, the strange phenomenon where two particles remain connected so that the action of one affects the other instantly, regardless of distance. While these concepts are not direct proof of energetic connection between people, they remind us that separation is not as absolute as it seems. There are forces and patterns that link us beyond physical boundaries. When you start to notice energetic connections in your life, you may become more sensitive to how your own energy affects others. For instance, when you are angry or stressed, the people around you often feel uneasy, even if you say nothing. When you are peaceful or joyful, others feel comfortable and uplifted in your presence. This exchange happens constantly, forming an unseen web of emotional communication. The more aware you become of this, the more intentional you can be with your thoughts. Thinking kind or healing thoughts towards someone is not an empty gesture. It is a subtle act of giving energy that can genuinely influence how they feel. Energetic connection all explains why certain people seem to stay in our minds long after they have left our lives. Their energy once intertwined with ours, and the threads remain until we consciously release them. Sometimes we mistake this lingering connection for obsession, when in reality it is simply an active energetic cord that needs clearing. Meditation, forgiveness, or visualization can help to balance or release that cord so that both energies can flow freely again. In other cases, the connection continues naturally because it serves a higher purpose, to offer mutual growth, understanding, or healing. It is important to remember that energy is neutral. It becomes positive or negative, depending on the intention behind it. When you think lovingly about someone, you send light energy that supports both of you. When thoughts are filled with resentment or fear, that same connection can feel heavy or draining. This is why spiritual teachers emphasize cultivating inner peace before focusing on others. The clearer and calmer your own energy field, the purer your connection becomes. Instead of projecting need or attachment, you transmit clarity and compassion, allowing the other person to receive your thought without disturbance. In daily life, energetic connection reveals itself in subtle ways. You might wake up with a sense of someone's presence, or feel a pull to check on a loved one at just the right moment. You may walk into a room and instantly sense the mood of the people there without anyone speaking. You may even feel a shift in your body, a tingling, warmth, or heaviness. When someone close to you is experiencing strong emotions, these are all signs of your energy communicating with the energies around you. Paying attention to them does not mean abandoning reason. It simply means acknowledging that there are dimensions of perception beyond logic. Over time, learning to recognize energetic connection can deepen your relationships. It teaches empathy, patience, and mindfulness. When you understand that your energy affects others, you become more responsible for the vibrations you send out. A calm heart can soothe tension. A forgiving mind can dissolve hostility, and a loving thought can travel farther than you imagine. The same awareness also helps you protect yourself. If you sense that another person's energy is heavy or intrusive, you can ground yourself, visualize light surrounding you, and set the intention that only loving, positive energy is welcome in your space. The idea that we are energetically connected reshapes how we see human interaction. It suggests that every thought is a thread, every emotion a color woven into the collective fabric of life. To think of someone is to touch them gently in the unseen world. Sometimes they feel it and think of you too. Sometimes the energy passes quietly, creating balance without words. Either way, the connection reminds us that we are not separate beings navigating life alone. We are fields of living energy constantly meeting, learning, and exchanging light with one another. Sometimes, the reason you keep thinking about someone, because of any deep spiritual connection, or because they are sending you energy, but simply because something about them has captured your attention and awakened an emotional or mental response within you. Human beings are naturally drawn toward what stirs their curiosity or touches their feelings. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever thought or image you plant in it, especially one charged with emotion, tends to grow and expand. When a person becomes the subject of your attention, the mind begins to circle around them, collecting memories, images, and possibilities until they start appearing again and again in your thoughts. This is one of the most natural experiences of being human. The brain is wired to notice and repeat whatever feels emotionally significant. When you meet someone who triggers a feeling, admiration, affection, attraction, confusion, or even dislike, that emotion gives your brain a reason to keep returning to them. It's the mind's way of trying to understand and process what that person represents to you. The stronger the emotion, the more often the thought will appear. You may notice that you think of them during quiet moments, in between tasks, or just before sleep. Each time, the mind revisits the same memory or conversation, trying to make sense of it, to imagine new outcomes, or to re-experience the feelings that came with it. When we develop a fascination with someone, the imagination takes over. We start creating stories and what-if scenarios. Perhaps you imagine talking to them again, or wonder what they are doing, or replay old moments in your head. Each of these thoughts acts like fuel that strengthens the neural pathway connected to that person. The more you think, the easier it becomes for your mind to return to them the next time. Psychologists call this reinforcement. Over time, it can feel almost automatic. You are not consciously trying to think about them, but their image appears like a song that won't stop playing. There is also a biological element at work. When you think about someone who excites you or makes you feel good, your brain releases small amounts of dopamine, the chemical associated with pleasure and reward. This makes you want to think of them again because it feels satisfying. Similarly, when the thoughts involve worry or sadness, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol, which can also make those thoughts repeat as the mind looks for a sense of closure or safety. In both cases, the body participates in the cycle, turning a simple thought into an emotional loop. However, behind this loop there is often a deeper reason. Sometimes, the person represents something missing or unresolved within you. They might mirror qualities you admire or wish to develop. They might symbolize a lesson your soul is trying to learn: patience, self-worth, forgiveness, or the courage to express yourself. Thinking about them becomes a way for your inner world to explore that theme. For example, if you constantly think about someone who is confident and free-spirited, it could be your subconscious drawing you toward those same qualities. If you think about someone who hurt you, it might be your spirit's attempt to heal and release the pain still held inside. The mind also holds on to things that are incomplete. Any situation that ended abruptly or without closure can leave an open loop in your thoughts. You might replay conversations, wonder what could have been different, or try to rewrite the ending in your imagination. This doesn't always mean you still want that person in your life. It can simply mean your psyche is searching for understanding or peace. Once you find that inner closure, through reflection, forgiveness, or acceptance, those repetitive thoughts often fade naturally. It's also common to think about someone when you are lonely or emotionally unfulfilled. The mind looks for comfort in familiar places, and a memory of someone who once gave you attention or connection can become a temporary source of warmth. It's like lighting a candle in the dark, even if that candle belongs to the past. In those moments, the person becomes less important than what they represent: companionship, safety, love, excitement. By noticing what feeling your mind is seeking, you can learn to fulfill that need within yourself, instead of depending on thoughts of another to supply it. Another reason these thoughts persist is that we live in a world of constant reminders. Technology keeps us connected to images and updates of the people we know. A single photo, message, or song can instantly reopen emotional memory. The mind interprets these triggers as signals to think of the person again. Even if months or years have passed, the connection feels alive because the reminders keep feeding it. Creating healthy boundaries, unfollowing, muting, or taking digital breaks can help calm this mental activity and let the energy settle. From a spiritual point of view, generating your own thoughts about someone does not make the experience less meaningful. It shows how powerful your attention is. Whatever you focus on expands in your reality. If your thoughts about this person make you feel inspired, loving, or creative, then their presence in your mind is helping you grow. If the thoughts bring tension or sadness, They might be pointing to something inside you and leads, healing or release. Either way, the energy begins and ends with you. You are the one shaping the vibration through the quality of your thinking. The important thing is awareness. When you notice that you're thinking of someone, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What does this person's image bring up in me? Are you feeling love, regret, curiosity, hope? Each emotion gives a clue about what your soul is trying to express. Instead of fighting the thought, observe it gently, like watching a cloud pass through the sky. The more calmly you observe, the less control it has over you. Awareness dissolves attachment because it replaces unconscious reaction with conscious understanding. Over time, when you stop feeding the thought with extra emotion, it begins to soften. The mind no longer feels the same urge to revisit it again and again. This doesn't mean you forget the person. It simply means your relationship to the memory becomes peaceful. You can think of them without longing or restlessness. Just as you might remember a beautiful scene from a movie, appreciative, but detached. If you want to transform these persistent thoughts, you can use them as energy for growth. Each time they arise, redirect the feeling towards something creative or healing. Write, meditate, paint, walk in nature, or practice gratitude. By doing so, you shift the vibration from fixation to flow. The thought becomes a bridge to self-discovery instead of a trap. Thinking constantly about someone doesn't always mean something mystical is happening. Sometimes it's simply your mind doing what it does best, repeating what matters. But within that repetition lies valuable information about who you are and what you desire. It teaches you about attachment reflection and the power of focus. When you recognize that your thoughts are your own creation, you reclaim your energy. You realize that the person may have sparked the fire, but you are the one keeping it burning. When you learn to tend that fire with awareness, it can illuminate rather than consume, turning simple human thought into a path of understanding and inner peace. In every human life, there are people who feel strangely familiar from the very first meeting, as if you have known them for ages, even though you've just met. There is an instant comfort, a sense of recognition that defies logic. This experience is often described in spiritual traditions as the meeting of soulmates, or, in even rarer cases, twin flames. These ideas are not about romance alone, though love often brings them to the surface. They are about energetic resonance. Two souls vibrating on frequencies so similar that they recognize each other instinctively. When you keep thinking about someone in this way, when the thought of them lingers even without effort, it might be because your souls are intertwined through these deeper spiritual bonds. A soulmate, in the spiritual sense, is any soul that shares a strong energetic harmony with yours. It could be a parent, a friend, a partner, or even someone you meet only briefly yet remember forever. Soulmates come into our lives to help us learn, grow, and evolve. Each connection serves a purpose, sometimes to teach compassion, sometimes to awaken hidden strength, sometimes simply to remind us of joy. Thinking about a soulmate often feels warm, healing, and meaningful. Their presence in your mind does not drain you, it nurtures you. Even when physical distance separates you, the emotional or energetic connection remains, like a gentle current running between your hearts. Twin flames, on the other hand, are said to be something even more profound. In this concept, two individuals share the same core essence. They are two expressions of one soul, divided to experience growth through duality. Because they mirror each other so precisely, meeting a twin flame can be both beautiful and intense. You may feel an overwhelming pull toward them, not because of dependency or desire, but because they reflect your deepest truths back to you. In their eyes, You see both your light and your shadow. This recognition can be exhilarating and terrifying at once, igniting emotions that are difficult to contain. When you think constantly about someone who might be your twin flame, it's often not a simple case of infatuation. It's as if your soul is calling itself home. Their energy lives inside you, and your thoughts are simply responding to that inner echo. You might feel their moods without communication, sense their pain or joy, or dream about them vividly. Many people describe it as an invisible thread connecting two hearts, pulling each toward greater self, awareness, and unconditional love. The purpose of a twin flame bond is not only romantic union, but spiritual awakening. It pushes both individuals to grow, to face their fears, and to rise into their highest potential. However, such deep resonance does not always manifest smoothly. A soulmate can challenge you, and a twin flame can trigger every unresolved wound you carry. This is because the connection functions like a mirror. It reveals what is still unhealed. When you think about that person obsessively, or feel overwhelmed by emotion, it may be the soul's way of guiding you toward your own healing. The intensity is not meant to consume you but to awaken you. Through them, you come to know yourself more clearly. The more you understand your own emotions, the more balanced the connection becomes. Spiritually, both soulmates and twin flames operate under the same universal law, like attracts like. Every soul has its own energetic frequency, a kind of spiritual signature created by experiences, desires, and intentions. When another soul carries a frequency that harmonizes with yours, your energies naturally gravitate toward each other. This attraction can transcend time and distance. You might meet by chance, yet the meeting feels destined. You might separate and reunite later, always feeling that unseen pull. Thoughts become part of this attraction. When your energy tunes into theirs, thinking of them is almost effortless. Like two magnets aligning across space. Not everyone encounters a twin flame in every lifetime. The twin flame connection is considered rare and often comes with great emotional upheaval because of the depth of reflection it offers. Soulmates, however, are more common and come in many forms. You may have multiple soulmates, each appearing at different stages of life, helping you evolve in unique ways. Some stay for a lifetime, others enter briefly and leave a lasting mark. What unites them all is the feeling of spiritual recognition, the sense that your paths crossed for a reason beyond coincidence. When these connections activate, thoughts flow naturally between the souls involved. You may think of them, and they may think of you at the same time, not through deliberate effort but through resonance. It is similar to two tuning forks vibrating in harmony strike one, and the other begins to sing too. This is why even after years apart, a single reminder, a song, a scent, a dream, can reawaken the bond. Energy does not fade, it only transforms. Each interaction you have with a soulmate or twin flame imprints energy in your field, and that energy can resurface whenever something aligns with its frequency again. But it's important to approach these connections with awareness rather than idealization. A soulmate or twin flame is not meant to complete you. They are meant to reflect you. They show you what love, growth, and authenticity truly look like. When the connection becomes painful or confusing, it is not punishment but an invitation to look inward. Are you depending on their energy to feel whole? Are you resisting the lessons they bring? These questions help you transform obsession into understanding. The more you focus on your own healing, the clearer the connection becomes. Sometimes, a soulmate's purpose is to awaken you and then move on. Their departure can feel heartbreaking, but spiritually it may mark the completion of a contract between your souls. The love remains, but it shifts form, from attachment to gratitude. Thinking about them afterward is natural, for their energy helped shape who you are. Instead of fighting the thoughts, you can honor them, sending silent blessings and love. This turns the mental repetition into a spiritual act, allowing both souls to evolve freely. When a twin flame connection is active, the thinking and feeling can be even more intense. You might experience what is called telepathic communication, a sudden awareness of what they are going through, or an unexplainable emotional wave that mirrors their state. Whether one interprets this as energetic sensitivity or subconscious empathy, the effect is real. The connection teaches surrender, learning not to control or chase, but to trust that what is meant for you will align naturally when both souls are ready. Constant thinking is often the mind's way of trying to grasp what the soul already understands. By quieting the mind and centering in your own heart, you allow the energy to flow freely without anxiety. Soulmates and twin flames remind us that relationships are not accidents. Every encounter has meaning. Every connection carries lessons. When you find yourself thinking about someone again and again, it might be a sign that your souls have work to do together. Whether that work is to love, to forgive, to teach, or to let go. The thinking is not the goal. It is a doorway. Behind it lies understanding of who you are and how deeply everything in this universe is connected. Through the lens of soulmates and twin flames, constant thoughts about someone are no longer a mystery, but a reflection of energy recognizing itself. The mind translates that recognition into memory, longing, or inspiration. You might never fully explain it, but you can feel its truth in your heart. That certain people are more than coincidences. That certain bonds are written in energy, long before they appear in form. And when such a connection crosses your path, it becomes a reminder that the universe communicates, not only through words and actions, but through the quiet, persistent whisper of thought that says, "This person matters." Dreams are one of the most mysterious and powerful experiences of human existence. They blur the boundary between the conscious and subconscious mind, allowing us to access realms of emotion, memory, and energy that we cannot always reach while awake. When you find yourself thinking constantly about someone, especially after they begin to appear in your dreams, it may not be random at all. Dreams are the language of the soul, a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds, and through them, our inner self often sends messages, reminders, or unfinished emotions that need to be understood. In sleep, the conscious mind quiets down, and the subconscious takes over. This is the part of the mind that holds deep memories, feelings, and intuitive knowledge, things that the waking mind often ignores or suppresses. When someone appears repeatedly in your dreams, it can be your subconscious trying to tell you something important about that person, or about what they represent in your life. Sometimes the dream is not but about the energy they carry. Perhaps love, hurt, comfort, or loss. The person acts as a symbol. And understanding that symbol can reveal what your heart is truly trying to process. For example, if you dream of someone you care about and wake up with a sense of peace, it might mean that your soul feels connected and supported by their presence, even from afar. But if the dream feels tense or confusing, it may be your subconscious highlighting unresolved emotions, things left unsaid, boundaries crossed, or lessons unlearned. The recurring thought of that person during the day then becomes a continuation of that dream energy, as if part of your spirit is still trying to finish the story it began while you slept. There is also a deeper layer to this phenomenon that many spiritual traditions acknowledge. During sleep, the energy body, what some call the astral body, is believed to expand beyond the physical form. In this state, souls can meet and communicate on an energetic level. These are sometimes called astral encounters or spiritual visitations. You may dream of someone vividly, share a conversation, or feel their presence as if it were completely real. When you wake, the memory lingers, and the connection feels alive. This can explain why you might think about someone intensely after such a dream. Because, in a subtle energetic sense, the interaction truly occurred. Whether one interprets dreams psychologically or spiritually, the result is similar. They stir powerful emotions that influence our waking thoughts. The mind cannot easily distinguish between a dream experience and a physical one when the emotion feels real. If you dream that someone held your hand, comforted you, or looked into your eyes, your heart may still carry that warmth in the morning. If you dream of conflict or separation, your body may wake with the same tension as if it actually happened. Thus, you start thinking of them, not out of conscious choice, but because the dream's energy has imprinted itself on your awareness. Dreams also act as mirrors. They show us our inner landscape, our desires, fears, hopes, and regrets, using the language of symbols. The person you keep dreaming about might represent something you are yearning for. If they are someone who once made you feel safe or seen, the dream could be your soul's reminder that you crave that feeling again. Not necessarily from them, but from within yourself. On the other hand, if you dream of someone who hurt you, it may be your subconscious showing that a part of you is still seeking closure or forgiveness. Dreams, in this way, are healing tools. They bring hidden emotions to the surface so they can be released. Sometimes, the connection is mutual. When two people share a strong energetic bond, whether through love, friendship, or deep empathy, their thoughts and emotions can intertwine, especially during sleep when barriers are lower. It's not uncommon for both people to dream of each other around the same time or wake with the same feeling. While science may call it coincidence, many spiritual thinkers view it as a form of telepathic or soul communication. The shared dream acts as a meeting point in a subtle realm, reaffirming the connection between two souls who are energetically linked. Recurring dreams about someone can also indicate unfinished karmic ties. In many spiritual teachings, karma is not about punishment, but about balance and completion. Souls that have shared experiences in past may continue to meet in new forms to resolve what was left undone. If you keep dreaming of someone you barely know, or have never met in this life, it might signify that your souls have crossed paths before. The dreams could be preparing you for a meeting in this lifetime or helping you release an old energetic contract. On a psychological level, dreaming about someone repeatedly can be part of the brain's natural way of organizing emotional information. The mind replays significant memories or unresolved feelings to integrate them into your sense of self. This is why people who experience loss or heartbreak often dream of the person for weeks or months afterward. Not because they are obsessed, but because the psyche is slowly healing by revisiting the pain in symbolic form. The repetitive thinking that follows during the day is an echo of that healing process. It is also worth noting that certain times in life make these dreams more vivid. Periods of stress, change, loneliness, or spiritual awakening. When your energy is shifting, your inner world becomes more active. The subconscious communicates more clearly, and your sensitivity to others' energy increases. In such times, dreaming of someone can serve as guidance, showing you who or what holds significance in your journey forward. The key is to observe without overanalyzing. Instead of asking, "Why can't I stop dreaming about them?" ask, "What is my soul trying to show me through this dream?" When you wake from a powerful dream about someone, Take a moment to sit in stillness before rushing into the day. Feel the emotion it left behind: love, sadness, longing, curiosity, and let it move through you without judgment. Sometimes the message isn't in the details of the dream, but in the feeling it awakens. That feeling points toward something real in your waking life that deserves attention. For instance, if a dream leaves you with deep peace, it might be confirmation that connection with that person, whether physical or spiritual, is harmonious. If it leaves you uneasy, it may be urging you to heal, set boundaries, or release attachment. Dreams rarely speak in plain language. They speak through emotion and imagery. The more you listen to that language, the more clearly you understand your own heart. Thinking about someone after dreaming of them is thus a continuation of the dialogue between your conscious and subconscious self. Your waking thoughts are like echoes of the dream's vibration, reminding you that there is meaning to be found. Whether the connection is energetic, karmic, or purely emotional, it holds a mirror to your soul's current state. Dreams reveal where your attention truly lies, not always in the person themselves, but in the part of you that they awaken. In essence, dreaming of someone and then thinking of them constantly is not simply coincidence. It is the mind, heart, and soul collaborating to communicate something beyond words. It may be love-seeking expression, pain-seeking release, or intuition guiding you toward understanding. Instead of resisting the thoughts, allow them to teach you. Record your dreams, reflect on the emotions they carry, and notice the patterns. Over time, you may discover that the person you keep seeing in your dreams is not just a character from your past or imagination, but a messenger from your inner world, a reminder of how vast, mysterious, and interconnected human consciousness truly is. When you find yourself constantly thinking about someone, there is often a sense that something deeper is happening beneath the surface, as if an invisible thread connects you to them. Many people describe moments when they suddenly think of a particular person, only to receive a message or call from them soon after. Others feel an unexplained pull toward someone, even when they haven't spoken in months or years. This is where the idea comes in that perhaps they are also thinking about you. Far from being just a romantic fantasy, there is a spiritual and energetic explanation for why this can happen. Every human being emits energy. Our thoughts, emotions, and intentions are not confined to the mind. They ripple outward in subtle waves that can be felt by others, especially by those we are emotionally close to. This field of vibration is often called the aura or energy body, and it extends beyond the limits of our physical form. Just as radio waves transmit signals that can be picked up by a receiver tuned to the right frequency, thoughts and emotions transmit vibrations that can be felt by another person whose energy is aligned or sensitive to yours. When someone is thinking intensely about you, whether with affection, longing, curiosity, or even confusion, that thought becomes charged with emotional energy. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the vibration it produces. This energetic signal can travel across distance because energy is not limited by physical space. If your own energy field is receptive to theirs, perhaps because you share a past connection, a bond of love, or simply a similar frequency, you can pick up that signal intuitively. It might arrive as a sudden thought of them, an image flashing in your mind, a feeling in your heart, or even a physical sensation like warmth or restlessness. This is why the idea, "they're thinking of you," often feels true on a gut level. You don't consciously know what is happening, but your intuition registers the energy being directed toward you. In such moments, your conscious mind interprets the vibration as a thought of them. Even though it is more like an energetic whisper than an intentional thought of your own. You might be in the middle of your day when their face, name, or voice suddenly appears in your mind, seemingly for no reason. Often, this is your subtle energy responding to the frequency of their focused attention on you. The strength of this effect depends on the level of emotional or spiritual connection you share. Between close friends, family members, lovers, or twin flames, the energetic link can be extremely strong. In twin flame dynamics in particular, both souls mirror each other's energy, so thoughts and feelings naturally flow back and forth. Even across long distances, one may sense what the other is going through. Moments of sadness, joy, or longing transmitted through the shared field of consciousness. When one twin thinks about the other with intensity, it triggers an energetic resonance that causes the other to feel or think about them too. From a psychological perspective, this phenomenon can also be explained through the subconscious mind. The subconscious is deeply attuned to patterns, emotions, and memories. If someone has occupied a significant place in your emotional life, your subconscious remains sensitive to their energetic state. When they begin to think about you, that mental and emotional activity subtly influences the collective energy between you, and your subconscious picks up on it. You might not understand why you suddenly feel their presence, but your inner awareness has detected the change. It is similar to how you might sense someone staring at you from behind, even before you turn around. The body and energy field register attention as a kind of energetic pressure. Thoughts are energy in motion, they carry intention. When someone repeatedly directs their attention toward you, it's as though they are knocking on the door of your energetic space. Eventually, you feel that knock, not in your ears, but in your mind and heart. There is also a resonance principle at work here. Energy responds to energy. When someone's vibration matches or complements yours, their thoughts can travel more easily through the subtle layers of consciousness that connect all beings. In a way, you become like two tuning forks. When one vibrates, the other begins to hum with the same frequency. This is why certain people seem to pop into your mind again and again, while others you rarely think about disappear from your awareness. The more emotionally or spiritually aligned two people are, the more sensitive they become to each other's thoughts and emotions. However, this does not necessarily mean that every time you think of someone, they are thinking of you too. The key lies in the quality of thought and the feeling that accompanies it. If you suddenly think of someone and feel a calm warmth, peace, or subtle joy, it often indicates a mutual exchange of positive energy, a sign that they are holding you in kind regard or affection. But if the thought comes with heaviness, anxiety, or confusion, it might suggest that their energy toward you is unsettled, or that they are wrestling with mixed emotions about the connection. In both cases, you are sensing their energetic state through your intuitive awareness. This process happens subconsciously and does not require either person to be aware of it. It is part of the natural interconnectivity of consciousness. Modern physics and metaphysics alike have begun to explore how energy and thought may transcend distance. Ideas like quantum entanglement suggest that particles, and perhaps consciousness itself, can remain connected across vast spaces. In spiritual terms, this is described as the web of unity or the collective field of awareness. Within this field, strong emotional or spiritual bonds act as energetic pathways that keep two people connected, no matter how far apart they are. You might also notice that these thoughts tend to arise at specific times. Moments when your energy is quiet, such as before sleep, during meditation, or while doing something repetitive like walking or showering. In such states, your conscious mind relaxes and your intuitive sensitivity heightens. This makes it easier for you to perceive subtle energies, including the vibration of someone thinking about you. Many people experience this as a gentle tug at their awareness, a sudden urge to check their phone, or the sense that they are being pulled emotionally toward someone. It is also common for people to dream of someone on nights when that person is thinking about them intensely. Because sleep lowers the barriers of the conscious mind, the communication between energies becomes more direct. The dream acts as a symbolic form of contact, where the subconscious translates the energetic signal into imagery and story. Upon waking, the dream lingers, and you begin to think about them again, reinforcing the connection in both directions. This energetic reciprocity is not limited to romantic relationships. It can occur between parents and children, lifelong friends, or even spiritual teachers and students. Anytime two souls form a deep emotional or karmic bond, their energy fields remain partially connected. That is why you might think of an old friend out of nowhere, only to receive a message from them soon after, or feel uneasy for no reason, just before hearing that someone close to you is struggling. These are examples of energy-based empathy, the natural awareness that arises when two energies are in tune. To handle this experience consciously, it helps to cultivate mindfulness and grounding. When you notice someone entering your thoughts repeatedly, pause and ask yourself how it feels. Is it comforting or draining? Expansive or heavy? If it feels peaceful, you can silently send gratitude or love back through the same energetic channel, reinforcing positive resonance. If it feels uneasy, you can visualize cutting cords of attachment or surrounding yourself with light to clear your energy field. The goal is not to suppress the thought, but to bring awareness to it, transforming unconscious energetic exchanges into conscious, intentional communication. Over time, you may start to recognize patterns. Certain people whose thoughts you often pick up on, certain emotions that trigger those sensations. This awareness strengthens your intuition and helps you understand the unseen dynamics of your relationships. Thinking of someone, then, becomes less of a mystery and more of a message, an invitation to tune into the flow of energy between souls. So when you find yourself suddenly thinking about someone, consider that it might not just be imagination. It could be a subtle signal from the invisible web of consciousness, reminding you that we are all connected. Someone, somewhere, could be sending their thoughts toward you at that very moment, not with words or gestures, but with pure energy. And your awareness, sensitive and open, receives it like a quiet echo in the heart, whispering of the unseen bond that exists between two souls moving through the same vast field of life. The subconscious mind is one of the most powerful, yet least understood parts of our being. It quietly governs around 95% of our daily thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, influence in how we perceive others and how we respond to the world around us. When it comes to constantly thinking about someone, the subconscious often plays a much larger role than we realize. What seems like random or actually be a reflection of energetic and emotional patterns deeply embedded in the subconscious. Patterns that link us to another person through unseen threads of thought and vibration. Every time we think of someone, especially with strong emotion, that thought doesn't just disappear. It leaves an imprint in the subconscious mind. Over time, these imprints can grow into an energetic bond that connects two people beyond physical contact or communication. The more powerful the emotion, whether love, longing, curiosity, or even resentment, the stronger that bond becomes. The subconscious treats repeated thoughts as important data. If you keep focusing on someone, your subconscious begins to associate their energy with significance. creating a kind of inner magnet that keeps drawing your attention back to them. This process often happens without our awareness. You may be going about your day when their face suddenly flashes in your mind, or you hear a song that reminds you of them and feel a surge of emotion. You might think it's just coincidence, but what's really happening is your subconscious replaying energetic impressions it has stored. These impressions are not just mental, they carry vibrational energy. Thought, after all, is energy in motion. Each time you think of a person with strong feeling, you send out a subtle frequency that seeks a match. And if that person's energy resonates with yours, the vibration finds its way back, reinforcing the loop of thought. To understand this better, imagine your subconscious as fertile soil. Whatever you plant there, through repetition, emotion, or belief, takes root and begins to grow. If thoughts of a particular person are constantly planted there, especially with emotional intensity, they begin to form a stable energetic pattern. This pattern then becomes part of your overall vibration, radiating outward from your energy field. Because everything in the universe responds to frequency, that vibration can influence and even reach the person it's about. Over time, both of you might begin to feel each other's presence intuitively, as if you are connected by an invisible thread. This is one of the reasons why you might feel someone's energy strongly, even if they're not physically near you. The subconscious bond acts like a transmitter and receiver, constantly sending and picking up subtle signals. When that person thinks of you, the thought carries a vibration that your subconscious recognizes, even if your conscious mind can't explain it. Suddenly, you feel a wave of emotion or a pull of attention toward them, and your conscious mind interprets it as your own thought. In truth, it might be your subconscious responding to their energy. The subconscious mind is also responsible for processing emotional memories that haven't been fully healed. If you share a deep emotional history with someone, for example, an intense friendship, love, or heartbreak, the energy of that connection can remain stored in the subconscious long after the conscious mind has tried to move on. When you think about them repeatedly, it might not be because you want to. It's because some part of your subconscious is still working through the unresolved emotions tied to that person. The repetitive thoughts are a signal that healing or closure is still needed. In spiritual terms, the subconscious is like the bridge between your conscious self and your energetic self. It's the part of you that interacts most directly with the unseen world, intuition, dreams, and energetic impressions. When two people are emotionally or spiritually bonded, their subconscious minds often operate on a similar wavelength. Thoughts, emotions, and even dreams can transfer through this shared energetic channel. This is why twin flames and soulmates often report feeling each other's emotions or knowing when the other is thinking of them. Their subconscious minds are deeply intertwined, constantly exchanging subtle information. The subconscious also doesn't distinguish between reality and imagination. It reacts to whatever it's shown. If you visualize someone, replay conversations, or imagine experiences with them vividly, your subconscious believes it is real and adjusts your vibration accordingly. This is how manifestations involved in relationships work. Consistent thought and emotion directed toward a person create energetic alignment that can influence reality. Similarly, if someone else is thinking about you intensely, their visualization or emotion can project energy into your subconscious field, causing you to think about them in return. This connection can be both beautiful and overwhelming, depending on the nature of the energy involved. When two people think lovingly of each other, the subconscious exchange can feel comforting and peaceful, as though their presence is near. But if the thoughts stem from obsession, guilt, or unhealed pain, the energy may feel heavy or intrusive, leading to anxiety or confusion. Recognizing this difference is essential. The subconscious amplifies whatever energy it receives. So if you want peace, you must intentionally clear old emotions and redirect your focus toward love and balance rather than fear or attachment. Clearing subconscious attachments doesn't mean forgetting someone. It means releasing the energy that keeps you bound to them in an unbalanced way. Practices such as meditation, journaling, and breathwork help calm the conscious mind so you can access the deeper layers of the subconscious. Visualization techniques, like imagining light cleansing your energy field or gently cutting cords that connect you to another person, can also help dissolve energetic ties. Over time, this allows your subconscious to reset its vibration, freeing you from repetitive thoughts that no longer serve your growth. Conversely, if you wish to maintain or strengthen a connection, you can consciously work with your subconscious to send positive energy to the other person. By focusing on gratitude, compassion, or forgiveness, you transform the energetic bond into something harmonious. Because the subconscious is so sensitive to feeling, even a few moments of genuine love or goodwill can shift the vibration between two people. The key is always intention. What you send out through your subconscious eventually finds its way back to you. It's important to remember that your subconscious does not operate in isolation. It interacts with the collective energy of the universe. Thoughts and emotions exist in a shared field of consciousness that connects all living beings. When you think of someone intensely, you tap into this collective field where their energy also resides. Your subconscious, attuned to patterns of resonance, finds their vibration and forms a bridge. This bridge can remain active as long as one or both people continue feeding it with attention or emotion. Once the energy is balanced or the lesson learned, the connection often fades naturally, and your thoughts begin to quiet. So, when you keep thinking about someone, it may be less about conscious obsession and more about subconscious resonance. It's your deeper self responding to a vibration that has meaning for you, either because of emotional memory, energetic exchange, or soul connection. The subconscious is like an antenna, picking up signals that the rational mind cannot detect. Through awareness and emotional clarity, you can begin to understand what those signals are trying to tell you. Perhaps your subconscious is asking you to heal an old wound, to forgive, or to appreciate a bond that once brought joy. Maybe it's guiding you toward understanding your own desires and boundaries. Or perhaps it's simply mirroring the fact that someone, somewhere, is thinking of you too, and your inner world has picked up the echo. Whatever the case, when you honor the messages of your subconscious, by listening, observing, and feeling without judgment, you align with the deeper intelligence that governs human connection. In that quiet awareness, you realize that every thought, every feeling, and every energetic exchange is part of the intricate web that unites all souls, reminding you that even unseen, you are never truly separate from those who have touched your heart. Sometimes, the reason you can't stop thinking about someone isn't spiritual, mystical, or energetic. It's psychological and emotional. It's the natural functioning of the conscious mind, which can easily become fascinated, curious, or emotionally hooked on a person or an idea. When this happens, your own thoughts begin to create a self-reinforcing loop. The more you think of them, the more emotions you generate, the more emotions you feel, the more your brain seeks that person as the source of stimulation. What starts as a simple thought or memory can snowball into a persistent pattern that feels beyond your control. The human brain is wired to focus on what feels emotionally significant. Whenever someone makes you feel something, excitement, love, admiration, confusion, or even pain, your mind automatically tags them as important. This is because the brain is designed to pay attention to emotional experiences. Emotions signal meaning and potential lessons. So, if someone made you feel deeply at any point, your mind continues to revisit that emotional imprint as a way to understand or relive it. Each time you think about them, your brain releases neurochemicals associated with that emotion. Dopamine, oxytocin, or even adrenaline, reinforcing the habit of thinking about them again. Over time, this process creates a feedback loop. The thought triggers emotion, the emotion triggers more thought, and the cycle continues. You begin to think about them, not because there's an external reason, but because your brain has linked their image or memory to a certain emotional state. This is why people often find themselves daydreaming about a crush, replaying conversations in their head, or feeling drawn to check someone's social media repeatedly. The brain's reward system becomes involved, associating that person with a small hit of pleasure, comfort, or even drama, anything that makes you feel alive. But this pattern doesn't only occur in romantic contexts. It can happen with friends, mentors, family members, or even strangers who, for some reason, made a strong impression. The conscious mind doesn't always distinguish between positive and negative significance. If someone hurt you, confused you, or left things unresolved, your mind might cling to their memory as a way to seek closure. The act of thinking about them becomes an unconscious attempt to solve an emotional puzzle, to find answers, justification, or meaning in what happened. From a spiritual perspective, this mental repetition has energetic consequences. When you continuously focus on someone, you're sending energy toward them through your thoughts. Attention is energy, and energy always follows intention. So, every time you dwell on them, you strengthen the energetic cord that connects you. It's like watering a plant. The more water it gets, the more it grows. Even if your thoughts are confused or negative, they still feed that connection. This is why it can feel to stop thinking about someone once the pattern begins. Your energy keeps feeding the very bond you wish to release. Yet the beauty of the mind is that it can be trained. The conscious thought loop doesn't have to control you, it can be redirected. Awareness is the first step. When you notice yourself thinking about them, instead of judging or suppressing the thought, simply acknowledge it. Observe how it feels in your body. Is it heavy? Warm, nostalgic, anxious? Each sensation reveals something about why your mind keeps returning there. Are you missing connection? Seeking validation? Reliving a pleasant memory? Or perhaps avoiding an uncomfortable truth within yourself? Once you identify the underlying emotion, you can begin to shift your focus. The key is not to fight the thought but to change its energy. For example, if the thought arises with longing, breathe deeply and redirect that energy into gratitude. Gratitude for what you learned from knowing them, or even for the capacity to feel deeply at all. If the thought comes with pain, imagine surrounding yourself with light and releasing that energy back to the universe for healing. When you change the emotional charge behind the thought, you weaken its hold over your attention. Sometimes, the repetition of thoughts about a person is actually the psyche's way of signaling that something within you needs attention. Maybe you're craving connection, love, or recognition, needs that your mind associates with that person. By nurturing yourself and meeting those needs internally, you lessen the emotional dependency that fuels the constant thinking. Meditation, journaling, and creative expression help you process the underlying emotion consciously, allowing the energy to settle rather than spiral. It's also worth remembering that we tend to think more about people who reflect something back to us, either an aspect we love or one we suppress. In this way, the person becomes a mirror. The fascination may not be about them as an individual, but about what they represent, a quality you desire, a lesson you need to learn, or a wound you are ready to heal. For example, if you can't stop thinking about someone confident and free, spirited, perhaps your soul is nudging you to awaken those same traits within yourself. If you're haunted by thoughts of someone who disappointed you, maybe your subconscious is asking you to confront your patterns of expectation or attachment. Understanding this mirroring effect transforms the situation. Instead of feeling like a victim of your thoughts, you begin to see them as opportunities for self-awareness. Each repetitive thought becomes a signal pointing you toward growth. The moment you extract the lesson or integrate the emotion, the mental repetition naturally fades. The person's image loses its power because you've received what your soul was trying to show you through them. In the spiritual dimension, thoughts carry frequency. Repeated thoughts about someone create a consistent vibration in your energy field. Over time, this vibration can either attract or repel experiences that match it. If you think about someone with love and peace, you radiate harmony and attract more loving experiences. But if you think of them with resentment or fear, that lower vibration can keep you stuck in emotional loops. This is why mindfulness and energetic cleansing are essential. Not to erase the thought of someone, but to ensure that your energy remains balanced and your thoughts stay aligned with your highest good. When the mind keeps circling around a person, try to pause and breathe. Imagine gently pulling your attention back into your own heart space. Remind yourself, my energy belongs to me. This simple act of reclaiming focus breaks the unconscious habit of pouring energy outward. Over time, your thoughts quiet down, your emotional balance restores, and you feel lighter. Thinking of someone occasionally then becomes a choice, not a compulsion. Ultimately, constantly thinking about someone can be seen as a natural human response, an intersection of emotion, memory, and energy. It's how the mind tries to make sense of connection and meaning. But beneath that, it's also a message from your inner self. Pay attention to what this person represents in your growth. When you listen to that message, process the emotion, and reclaim your energy, the thoughts no longer control you. They become gentle reminders, not of obsession or longing, but of how deeply the heart can feel, and how powerful the mind is in shaping your reality. The mind-heart connection is one of the most profound aspects of being human. It is the invisible thread that links our logical awareness to our emotional and energetic world. When you find yourself constantly thinking about someone, it often means your heart and mind have entered into a kind of conversation, one where emotion fuels thought and thought strengthens emotion. This dynamic can feel both beautiful and confusing because it pulls you into a space where you are not only remembering someone intellectually, but also feeling their presence energetically and emotionally. Every thought carries a vibration, and every emotion carries energy. The heart, often considered the seat of emotion, generates one of the strongest electromagnetic fields in the body, much stronger than that of the brain. Modern research has shown that the heart's energy field extends several feet beyond the physical body, influencing not only our own internal state, but also interacting with the energy fields of others. Spiritually speaking, this means that when your heart feels deeply for someone, its energetic pulse can reach them even across distance. This is why, at times, you can sense someone's mood or presence without words. It's not imagination, but the resonance of energy between hearts that have connected. When your mind and heart align around a person, they begin to form a loop of attention and energy. The heart sends emotion. The mind interprets it as thought, and the thought reignites emotion. This cycle is what causes someone to stay in your awareness constantly. You might try to distract yourself, but the moment your mind quiets, the heart's vibration rises again, sending out another pulse of memory or feeling. It's as if part of your energy field has tuned itself to theirs, and your system keeps scanning the universe for that familiar frequency. This connection can emerge in many forms: love, empathy, care, admiration, or even grief. In love, the heart opens fully, creating an energetic bridge between two people. This bridge allows the exchange of subtle emotional and intuitive signals. You might find yourself knowing when they're thinking of you, feeling their energy suddenly, or even having dreams that reflect their state of being. This happens because, on an energetic level, your hearts are in communication, even if your minds and bodies are apart. But the heart-mind connection doesn't just happen in love. It can also be activated through deep emotional experiences of any kind. When someone impacts you profoundly, by teaching you something, hurting you, inspiring you, or awakening a dormant part of your soul, that emotional charge gets stored in your heart's energetic field. The mind, being the interpreter, keeps replaying the image of that person to help you process what the heart has felt. Thus, you think of them repeatedly, not only because of attachment but because your energy system is still trying to understand, release, or integrate what happened. Spiritually, the heart is also viewed a bridge between the physical and spiritual dimensions of existence. It is where human love transforms into universal love, where attachment becomes understanding, and where emotional intensity becomes compassion. When your heart is strongly connected to someone, that connection often carries lessons about forgiveness, patience, empathy, or self-worth. Thinking of them constantly, then, may be part of the heart's way of urging to pay attention to these lessons. It's as though your soul is whispering through the language of thought. There is still something to feel, something to learn, something to release. On a psychological level, the heart-mind connection explains why emotions so powerfully influence thought patterns. When you're happy, your thoughts naturally become optimistic. When you're sad, the mind tends to dwell on loss or longing. The heart sends emotional signals to the brain through the nervous system, and the brain responds by generating thoughts that match the emotional tone. So, when someone holds emotional weight in your heart, your brain receives those signals as mental images and memories, creating the illusion that you're thinking of them all the time. In truth, it's your emotional body that's still processing their energy. This interplay can be healing if approached consciously. When you realize that constant thoughts about someone stem from your emotional energy, you can begin to work from the heart outward instead of the mind inward. Instead of asking, "Why can't I stop thinking about them?" you begin to ask, "What am I still feeling that needs my attention?" This shift transforms obsession into self-awareness. The thoughts then become guides, pointing you toward emotional clarity rather than control. For example, if your heart feels incomplete, as in the case of unspoken love, sudden separation, or unresolved conflict, the mind keeps bringing the person back into focus because it seeks harmony. The heart longs to close the emotional loop, and until that harmony is restored, the energy remains active. Sometimes that restoration comes from communication. Other times, it comes from inner forgiveness or acceptance. When you finally acknowledge the emotion fully, the mental repetition naturally begins to fade, replaced by peace. Another beautiful aspect of the heart-mind connection is its role in intuition. The heart is incredibly intelligent, not just emotionally, but energetically. It can sense alignment or misalignment in relationships long before the logical mind can explain it. When you can't stop thinking about someone, it may be because your heart senses that something meaningful is happening at an unseen level, perhaps an energetic shift, a shared emotional experience, or an upcoming reunion. The heart acts as a receiver of subtle signals from the universe, while the mind decodes them through thought. The trick is to discern whether the feeling is one of expansion and love or contraction and anxiety. The former usually points to spiritual connection, the latter to emotional attachment. In deep soul connections, such as twin flames or karmic bonds, the heart-mind loop becomes especially intense. The heart recognizes the familiar vibration of the other soul, and the mind, unable to categorize such a profound resonance, keeps trying to make sense of it. This can lead to an overwhelming flood of thoughts, dreams, and signs that keep pulling your awareness toward them. Many people describe it as feeling energetically tied or magnetically drawn. In truth, it's the synchronized heartbeat of two souls communicating across space, guided by a shared spiritual frequency. Yet, the purpose of such intensity is not to trap you in longing, but to awaken you. The mind-heart connection acts like a spiritual teacher, showing you the depth of your capacity to feel and love. It teaches emotional maturity, how to hold deep feelings without losing your center, how to love without attachment, and how to think of someone without giving away your peace. When you learn to honor both the mind's curiosity and the heart's sensitivity, you achieve harmony. You no longer see the constant thoughts as a burden, but as part of a sacred dialogue between your soul and the universe. Balancing this connection requires awareness and compassion. When your thoughts wander toward that person, take a slow breath and feel your heartbeat. Instead of resisting the thought, let it move through your awareness like a gentle wave. Send them light, gratitude, or love, and then bring your focus back to yourself. This practice keeps the energetic bond pure and balanced. Over time, your thoughts become softer, your emotions calmer, and the connection more peaceful, no longer draining, but simply existing as a quiet resonance of love and understanding. Ultimately, the mind-heart connection reminds us that thinking about someone constantly isn't always a problem to be solved. It can be a reflection of deep love, unprocessed emotion, or soul recognition. It's the universe showing you how profoundly connected human beings truly are, not just through words or physical presence, but through invisible threads of energy that tie heart to heart, thought to thought, and soul to soul. When you approach it with awareness instead of resistance, you begin to see that every thought is an act of communication between your own mind and heart. And through that communication, you grow closer not only to the other person, but to your own deepest truth. When you find yourself thinking about someone over and over again, it can often lead to confusion, emotional turbulence, and an endless stream of questions. You may wonder whether these thoughts mean something deeper, a sign of a spiritual bond, an emotional attachment, or simply a reflection of your own subconscious desires. But beyond all the spiritual or psychological interpretations, there is always one universal truth. You have the power to choose how you respond to that connection. The 10th and final key insight is about reclaiming your energy, understanding the purpose of that mental focus, and deciding consciously what kind of relationship, if any, you want to maintain with this person on an energetic level. Every thought you think is an act of creation. Every time you focus on someone, you give a small portion of your energy to that connection. It's not inherently good or bad. It depends entirely on your intention. If your thoughts towards someone are filled with love, gratitude, or compassion, they expand your energy field and bring peace. But if your thoughts are heavy with longing, sadness, or resentment, they can create energetic cords that feel draining or obsessive. The process of deciding what next begins with awareness, realizing that you are not powerless in this experience. You are not a passive receiver of uncontrollable thoughts. You are the creator of your energetic reality, and with mindfulness, you can shape the way your thoughts and emotions move. The first step in taking charge of this energy is reflection. Ask yourself, what am I truly feeling when I think about this person? Do you feel love and warmth, or does it bring you confusion and anxiety? This question helps you understand whether the connection is nurturing your growth or keeping you stuck. If it brings expansion, that feeling of openness in your heart, it might be a connection worth exploring or deepening. You can nurture it by sending positive thoughts, practicing gratitude for what it has taught you, and allowing it to flow naturally without force. If, however, your thoughts bring contraction, that sense of heaviness or restlessness, it may be time to release the energy. Releasing someone from your energy field doesn't mean forgetting them or denying that they mattered. It means freeing yourself from emotional entanglement so that both souls can grow independently. You can begin this process by visualizing a gentle light surrounding you, clearing your aura, and cutting any cords of attachment that no longer serve your highest good. Meditation, journaling, or spending time in nature can help you ground yourself and return to your own frequency. As you do this, you'll begin to notice that the thoughts about this person become less consuming. They might still arise, but they no longer control your mood or drain your peace. You begin to think of them with calm acceptance rather than emotional intensity. Sometimes, letting go allows energy to rebalance naturally. The universe has a mysterious way of returning people to us at the right time. Not when we're grasping for them, but when we've reached inner harmony. In other cases, releasing someone simply clears space for new energy, new lessons, and new people to enter your life. Either way, by detaching from the mental chaos and returning to your own center, you align yourself with a higher vibration of peace and love. You become magnetic to experiences and connections that truly reflect your evolved state of being. The act of deciding what to do next is, in essence, an act of self-love. You are not rejecting the person, you are honoring your own emotional health. If you choose to strengthen the energetic bond with them, do so from a space of wholeness, not because you need them to complete you, but because you choose to share your light freely. If you choose to release them, do so with compassion, not from anger or avoidance, but from understanding that love sometimes means setting energy free. In both paths, the power remains with you. Energetically, this decision marks a turning point. When you consciously direct your thoughts and emotions, you reclaim your spiritual authority. Instead of being carried by the current of your mind, you become the one steering it. Over time, your mental and emotional state grows calmer, your heart lighter, and your connection to the universe stronger. You begin to sense that every relationship, every thought, and every energetic tie was never random. Each served to teach you more about yourself, about love, and about the profound interconnectedness of all souls. Thinking of someone repeatedly is not a curse or a coincidence. It is an invitation to look inward and discover what your soul is trying to tell you. Perhaps it's reminding you of your capacity for deep connection. Perhaps it's showing you a part of yourself that seeks healing. Or perhaps it's teaching you the sacred art of letting go. Whatever the reason, trust that it is part of your soul's journey toward growth and understanding. And as we come to a close, remember this: the energy you give is the energy you live in. The thoughts you hold become the vibrations you send into the universe, shaping the reality you experience. Whether you choose to hold on or to let go, whether you seek to deepen or dissolve the connection, do it with awareness. Send love instead of longing. Send gratitude instead of guilt. Choose peace instead of pain. Because ultimately, every soul we think of, every person who crosses our path, is a mirror, reflecting back to us the energy we carry within. When you learn to manage your thoughts and emotions with consciousness, you stop being a prisoner of connection and become a master of energy. You no longer wonder why you're thinking of someone. You understand what the experience is teaching you. And that is where true spiritual freedom begins. So, if tonight your thoughts drift once more toward that person, do not fight it. Simply breathe. Let the thought come, acknowledge it, and release it with love. Whisper silently within your heart, I bless this connection and I set it free. I return to my peace, my center, my light. In that moment, you are not losing anyone. You are reclaiming yourself. And that is the deepest, most beautiful form of spiritual alignment there is.